Hey everybody, let's not talk about the last run. It's been a couple of days and I'm back to play some Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Ooh, let's do an Eve run, shall we? I'm embarrassed. I mean, I only have a shadow of a memory of how that last run went because, you know, it's been a busy 2 days for me. I don't know if you know, but Saturday was my day off. But we're back. I mean, we won. It was just really bad, and it got worse. So I'm eager to start anew and put the mistakes of yesterday behind us. At least that's my intention. Now, if we don't get any damage upgrades and your boy starts to get a little salty, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab a glass of water and try to, you know, rebalance my salinity levels to a level that, you know, allows my body to maintain some equilibrium. You know, I don't want a situation where I got too much salt in the blood, not enough in the cells, and vice versa. I always thought that about salt. I mean, I'm not a nutritionist, okay? I know we're starting off weird terms here, but that might be a library. You're bad cap, right? I know it says brown cap, but like in actuality, you're the one that's extremely toxic for us, I think. And not in the cool way like the Britney Spears song that everybody hated when it came out but loves now, and with deserving purpose. Don't even worry about this. This is sensible. Yes, this is indeed the bad one. Okay. So, what are we gonna do? Freaking get rid of it, for one. That's a big step. Yeah, and then just, when you're trying to hit the tab key, if you could just accidentally hit the Q key and use your death card, which definitely would have killed Larry Jr. instantly, that would be good. So this is, like I said, we're starting off a brand new day here. Not making the same mistakes we made yesterday. Instead, making all new mistakes. The likes of which we've never conceived of before. But this is actually totally fine. It seems bad. And I mean, we've made, mostly like one room was just really terrible for us. But either way, once we kill Larry Jr., assuming we do, and you know, with the power of positive thinking, I got myself feeling good thoughts here. We're going to get a Spirit Heart. We also got Crack Jacks, which is somewhat unfortunate, but there we go. We got a better trinket. The only reason it's unfortunate is because we lost Whore of Babylon. So it puts us back in, like, the doldrums as far as DPS goes. I will go back and grab Brown Cap if there's a reason to. There is no reason to yet. Now, there's a great reason, like if we could get some Troll Bombs. We could take good advantage of those, no questions asked, but we're back, we're back. What I was going to say, though, is, you know, we all know salt is not necessarily good for you. Ugh. Well, no bombs. On a nutritional level, salt's not necessarily good for you. I hope I'm not the person that's, you know, breaking that illusion for you. I love salt. I season when I cook. I never use table salt. And the reason is, if I ever used table salt, I would use it on almost everything because it just makes food taste better. Now, I realize in seasoning, you know, it's not like that salt doesn't count. What have I done? But, you know, I don't want to get in the habit of putting salt on food to begin with. But this is a real question, and I don't want you to take it as science. Like, don't take what I'm about to say as an assertion of something. Rather, it's just curiosity, I should say. If you ate twice as much salt as you're recommended during the day, couldn't you somewhat negate the ill effects by just drinking twice as much water? I know that sort of sounds absurd. Now that I think about it, I guess I don't really understand the mechanism by which salt is bad for you. Like, it contributes to hardening of the arteries or, you know, bad heart health or something like that. But I guess I don't really know how. You know, with one enemy, I want to reroll him. My whole point is, I guess, I'm gunning for rerolls that could theoretically give me, well, like a consumable. If I get a champion on the reroll, like, I don't want to reroll this room. These are all very easy enemies that can hurt themselves. But, Two of Hearts is an interesting choice, because I don't want to be far away from making Whore of Babylon count, but I also don't want to die. So those conflicting emotions have got me a little twisted up here. What are you doing? So I am an idiot. Please, I'm exploding flies. Help me. Blow up your friends. Thank you. Don't take that out of context. But either way, why reroll a room that's literally like 100 of the weakest enemies you could ever imagine? You're not going to reroll into less enemies. I will say, somehow, I am leaving this room being like, this was easier. That doesn't seem fundamentally possible. But I guess you know what probably happened is that we just got fairly lucky on the roll to begin with. Okay. At least we got free access there, but... You know, we could have re-rolled that into some enemies that were truly terrible. I guess sometimes, you know, you could re-roll into an enemy with a beam. It could kill multiple enemies and make your life better. Like these guys, they're going to rush me down. I'm basically guaranteed to take damage, so... If we could... Wow! If we could instead re-roll for a chance not to, I would prefer that, but... Obviously didn't really work out like that to begin with. I see the boss... room, but my deal with the devil is slowly disappearing. I gotta think about this one. Ooh, the tick is tempting for survival, but just awful for keeping Whore of Babylon. It's tough. It's very tough. There must be tinted rocks on this floor, so I'm gonna buy the bomb. I opened up my wallet, bought the bomb. Life could be better with some spirit. Eddie Vedder. Don't deny it. You just had if you had a little Eddie Vedder ghost next to you at all times. I'm going hungry. Going hungry, yeah. You know, you've heard of it. I've spoken about it. Well, I guess we're gonna use our bomb to kill the boss, unless the boss is very easy, in which case we won't. How's that for analysis? It's Monstro. This is probably actually the easiest boss we could face. Oh, I almost got hit anyway, but... And I mean that, the Widow has less HP, but is faster and spawns enemies that would be annoying to shoot. Monstro, he's very manageable, you know? It's gonna be annoying, but as long as we can avoid those, like, really dubious shots, the perspective ones... We should be in a pretty good spot to make something happen here. I do want to use a bomb. I just kind of want to wait for the right opportunity. Because even though the bomb is not necessary, anything that, like, you know, even if it raises my deal with the devil chance by 5%, by making it more likely I'll defeat him quickly, like, that's perfect. One more hit, 2 more hits maybe. Ooh, that was a little scary. I guess we won't take that yet. Curse of the Blind, so dangerous here, but... Contract from Below. Little Delirium. I really want to know. The Halo. Ooh, it's great, but it also hurts. Because we could have taken the Halo and then gotten all 3 items, but who knows? Maybe if we took that 3rd item, we would be dead now. Let's just think of it like that. That'll put a smile on your face. Oh, hey, Little Brim. It's like Delirium actually doing work here. Keep Little Brim as long as that he will allow you to do so. I hate you. Oh, that was very close. You know, I'm just trying to think. We must have been at 2 HP. So we're actually okay to roll with what we have right now. If we're on half a heart, well, then maybe what I don't know won't hurt me. The thing is, I just don't want to take us out of Whore Babylon state unless it's necessary. So what happened there, by the way, in case you didn't notice, was that Little Delirium, as it's known to do, alright, decided that a fun thing to do would be to turn into an enemy that explodes while I was right next to it. Now, comes by it honestly, not really its fault. Dude, I would kill for the virus here. See, it did it again, but we were far away that time, thankfully. We're really playing with fire here by keeping Whore of Babylon active. When we... Oh, that was scary. When we definitely could just, you know, use 2 of Hearts. Keep ourselves alive. Hello, Tomo. Welcome to the office. Hello, Ruka. You want to come in? Ruka. He opted out. It is what it is. Like this room, highly scary. Still alive, though. Why would you roll right through that direction? That was scary. Hello, Tomo. You got meows for me? Tomo. Tomo. No meows. No meows, but he wants some pets. Okay, there's... Gave him a little pet action there. I think we're gonna try... I'd really like to get that Bob's brain out there. I think we should use the strength card, but I'm gonna try to use my noggin. And just if we see a shot coming for us that we can't avoid, press Q. It worked out. Somehow it worked out. We gotta be real careful, dude. Like, if we step on the spikes, we're in a lot of trouble. You know what we should have done that we did not do? Lovely. We should use the Two of Hearts, go into the cursed room. That's like a net... it can't hurt us, I guess, is what... It's not really a net anything. Very worried we're gonna get like a Bob's brain raid as this guy rushes us down. You kidding me? Oh, you wanna leave now? Goodbye, Tomo. Goodbye, Tomo. You guys like Silence of the Lambs? If you haven't seen it, now that's a movie, dude. You know, every once in a while when you see a movie, you know, sometimes you see a movie and you're like, ah, that's good. That sucked. That's good. It was decent. You know, it was half decent. That was okay. Sometimes you see a movie and you go, oh, that's a classic. Like, as you're watching it, you know you're seeing something special. There's only a couple of times I've had that movie-going experience in theaters in my life. One was definitely, I mean, one was not Silence of the Lambs. I was like, you know, 2 when it came out. But, one... We should be safe to do this. Just be careful, I guess. Oh, I don't know about this one. Actually turned out very well. You know what? Double me up. I think I'm ready. One was The Dark Knight. And I know maybe as time has gone on, that movie is no longer considered the best movie ever made or anything like that. Of course, now I wish I hadn't used Two of Hearts, but so be it. That's life. But watching it in theaters, only knowing like, oh, it's the sequel to the new Batman movie, or the 2005 Batman movie. Watching the twists and turns that Heath Ledger's Joker put Christian Bale's Batman through, me and my friends were like, especially we were like the prime demographic for it. We were dudes in our like very, very early 20s. So we're like, listen, I don't know why people keep saying The Godfather is so good. I mean, The Dark Knight is probably better, but that was one. And I still think that, you know, that's a movie that people have a ton of reverence for, even to this day. And then the other one, a year later, I saw Inglourious Basterds in theaters. I apologize to the language filter, but that's also the name of the friggin' movie. You probably should not be watching it in the first place if you can't handle hearing the B word. But, you know, saw that in theaters opening night and was like, it's a special movie. It's really, really good. And Silence of the Lambs, which is what I originally started by talking about, it's in the same vein. You know, even I saw Silence of the Lambs in college, and it's one of those movies where when I watched it, as soon as I watched it, I was like, oh, this isn't just like a good movie. This is like a classic. And of course, I knew that going in, but still, simultaneously. A little bummed we are not going to get a... Oh, well, we'll see what the books are first, but a little bummed we are not going to get an arcade on this floor. I think most of our plans revolve around getting a deal with the devil, using a strength card to maybe cheese it a little bit. Crystal Ball is so good. I know we could use How to Jump to get, like, some of those extra bombs. I'm just going to be real with you. You know, going way, way, way out of my way to get extra bombs, that's a first and second floor sort of value proposition. Not something I'm super invested in, you know, once you get down to fourth floor. Just, you know, out of, I guess, ego is part of it. It's like, you know, I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. I shouldn't be having to worry about the minutia of, you know, where my next bomb is coming from at this point in my life. There should be people handling that for me, because all of my life skills have become atrophied to the point where I can't do anything for myself. Like, what am I expected to do? Show some responsibility or something? Like the Witcher trailer? And by Witcher, I mean Cyberpunk 2077? Oh, we gotcha. Look at that. So we're going to be behind schedule for boss rush. Nothing wrong with that. Just something worth keeping an eye on. And the other thing worth keeping an eye on is Little Delirium, which seeks to undermine me at all times. Oh, it's terrible. This really could be a huge floor for us, though. We've had Samson's Chain, so I know we could use How to Jump to get to it, but, I mean, put yourself in my shoes. Would you use How to Jump to get Samson's Chain for leisure? Probably not. I've already inhibited myself with that Samson's Chain once. This floor, it has the potential to, like, set the whole run in motion. Hit the 3-wheel motion. Let's go. We need... Oh, we should go back for the strength card, but we need a deal with the devil. Preferably, I mean, if it had 3 good items, that would be awesome. And we're going to use our orbital like as much as is humanly possible. Because our damage is 3.06. Late into the game here. Well, starting to approach late into the game. But I'm not perturbed. You know, our HP's been good enough. Please. Just move slightly north. Thank you. Our HP has been good enough that I don't really consider this to be a bad state for this run. There probably is a second secret room right here. You might be able to take it, but you gotta think about it. And you gotta think about it wisely first. Alright, Raw Mega. Very, very glad we have a bomb. So we're gonna try to make sure that comes out at the exact right time here. So, we got him. No deal, though. Now that hurts. And we definitely should have used that on the next floor. But anyway, we're leaving. We're not taking the Eternal Heart. The odds of us getting, even with 100% here, the odds of us getting a deal with the devil that gives us enough opportunities to get back to Whore of Babylon state at 3 HP, it's unlikely. 2, we could always just not play the strength card. 3 starts to become a little bit more questionable, I think. So, 9 rate of fire, 4.2 damage. You know, if I was in a better mood with this run, you know, there's a lot of jokes to be made about that specific number. Maybe you can't make them until October in Canada, but that's okay. Legally, at least. That's okay. We're just gonna, you know, accept our lot in life. Use our orbital. Deal damage as safely as possible, but also as quickly as we can without jeopardizing the performance of the run. And just keep it moving. Definitely, I would give up on boss rush. Oh, thank you. That was a great transformation. Not every run has to be a boss rush. Not every run has to be a boss rush. There we go. Turns out I can still speak English. Okay. Data miner, terrible. Won't even use it once. Offended by its mere existence. Because we're here. Offended by what we got from items. If the game dev was here, I wouldn't fight him. 'Cause I respect his work. But he is a jerk for data miner. It's a weird one. I think we're gonna Joker early, and I know you're like not gonna be necessarily a huge fan of that. There's a good reason. Love it, love it, love it. The good reason is that now we're in Whore of Babylon state for the rest of the run. And I'm gonna stick with Crystal Ball. It's tempting maybe to veer off of it, but I'm gonna stick with Crystal Ball over the nail even, because it doesn't give you a guaranteed Spirit Heart, but sometimes we would rather have something else than a guaranteed Spirit Heart, and it gives us mapping as well. So I think we've now found the seam that makes this run work. We would have gotten it on the deal with the devil anyway, but now we get it before the deal with the devil, and we can carry another Joker card with us regardless. We knew that the card from the shop would be the Joker. Oops. Because we use Diplopia to double it. Like, Diplopia, especially at 7 cents, is just like a dream shop item. It's like a free shop. Plus, you get to see some of the, like, dice rolls and be like, yeah, I'd like to double up on that dice roll, thank you. We will take this. The reasoning is insanely simple. We have a guaranteed deal with the devil at our next leisure. And we will probably just pop it immediately on the next floor. Wow, I am dumb. There we go. In order to get, like, I mean, hopefully something else, but also get back to permanent Whore of Babylon state with no problems. Oh, I don't mind Fear Shot here. If we could actually kill him, like, in this phase, or, like, behind that rock, he would just be... Well, if he got to the second phase behind the rock, I should say, he would just die to the fire. But, I mean, as of right now, it's not like he's really living. I wouldn't call this life, at least, but... Get aside, so I'll be your guide. I'm gonna be the one to take you. This is only gonna be a level 1 orbital, by the way, but that's because we gave up our other orbital with Sacrificial Altar. But to be honest, a level 1 is basically as good as a level 2. Now, level 3 is better than both in most circumstances. Maybe you would disagree, but I don't know. I might prefer a level 1 to a level 3, actually. It's a good sign that you have probably messed up the balance somewhere, but I don't know, it depends. What would you rather? For novelty, I'd rather have a level 3, but I don't know, I still feel like a level 1 orbital might beat a level 3 Bandage Girl or Meat Boy. I'm not necessarily like the biggest fan of this run as is right now, but I gotta admit we did find the a scene. It's not a daily. Just remember, those are gonna come fast and furious at some point. It's still a little slow, but we can get there, maybe. Cube of meat wasn't really what I was looking for to take me to the next level. But that's okay. With so many keys, we will endeavor to come over here and be like, you know what? Thank you, Death Card. A little bit more useful earlier in the run, but life goes on. So now that we've navigated the treacherous waters of this Isaac run, anybody do any research about that salt question? It's not like I want to put it in action in my life, you know? It's, when I was younger, you'd hear advice, you know, oh, eggs are good for you, eggs are bad for you, peanut butter's good for you, fat's good for you, fat's bad for you, carbs are bad for you, carbs aren't the enemy. And you'd like draw questions, you know, you'd be like, well, I don't buy it. One study said that drinking 1 glass of red wine with dinner 5 times a week could possibly lower your risk of heart disease. So I'm gonna binge drink because alcohol's good for you. QED, you wouldn't understand my enlightened perspective. But you know, now I'm happy just to take advantage of the literature that's out there, if you know what I mean. Like, people back in the Middle Ages, I was thinking about it the other day, and it was like, we're very lucky to have access to the amount of information we do, to be honest. Don't do what I do here, but still, he is dead, so who's laughing now? Like, in the Middle Ages, real question, maybe not even Middle Ages, it's probably way before this, but how long did it take people to realize that the amount of food you consume, like, directly corresponds with your physical size? Like, were there... In the Aztec Empire, was the king ever like, or I guess the emperor, was he ever like, I don't understand why my body's so big and soft? Meanwhile, he's eating like, you know, 15,000 grapes a day or something like that. Like, we understand it now, and I mean, people have probably understood it for, I'm guessing, at least a few thousand years, if not longer, but like, I guess the correlation is a little easier to suss out, because you're like, I'm hungry, and I'm not eating, and I'm getting physically smaller. Well, that's not too bad. But there must have been, like, at least a few generations of humans that are like, why is that person so large? Simultaneously, where did they get all that food? Back in, like, the, you know, if you go 100,000 years ago. And they were still speaking English, and yes, Jesus Christ rode a pterodactyl. So I'm happy that we live in an era where we got a lot of that stuff figured out. I'm just happy to take the advice of the scientists and be like, you know what, thanks for doing the hard work. I'm not going to be like, I disbelieve what you're saying, necessarily. I mean, I am skeptical, of many things. It depends on the source of the data, I guess, and newspapers and blogs and magazines, TV stations always take like little scientific findings and go like, potential cure for cancer found. And you're like, well, no. It was like if a rat drinks Gatorade, there's a 1% chance that their tumor shrinks by half a centimeter. Kind of a different story, but you know, you got to put it in context. I'm not trying to, the whole point of that conversation was, I'm not trying to enact, like, find a loophole that allows me to consume a bunch of salt. I'm relatively happy with the amount of salt I consume. Not really looking for an outlet to consume more. I mean, that's one of those things, very few people in, you know, at least in the Western world, you know, where food is fairly plentiful and relatively cheap, and I know there's, you know, obvious counterexamples to that, but if you bring them up, I kind of think you're arguing in bad faith right now. I made my point pretty clear. Okay, we're okay to go this path. All right. Not a fool this time. Not as much of a fool. Nobody's going, I should really up my salt intake. That's one of those ones that normally gets handled for you. Nobody's ever going, oh, my salt's too high. That didn't stop people from caring about vitamin C, though. Getting sick, better drink 3 liters of orange juice. Anyway. Not that I'm some kind of... You shouldn't be looking to me for health advice. I mean, I get sick every time I shake hands with somebody. That reminds me, when Kate and I were out and about yesterday, are you watching the video? We got recognized. It always... This is very, like, self-inflating. We don't get recognized, like... It probably happens once a month, once every 2 months or something like that. Because it happens so rarely, it's not a nuisance at all. It actually just, like, makes my day. So thank you for that. We were in a department store in downtown Vancouver. As we left, you said, Northernlion and Kate. And later I remarked to my wife, how come you get to have your real name? I only get to be known by my pseudonym. But anyway. And then she was like, well, it's a marketing thing. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You're still alive, but you died, though. So if you're watching, you work at a cool store, and thanks for recognizing us. It made my day. It's always like, you know, when you go a little while without being recognized, and you're a public figure, you're like, people still watching Isaac? And then you're like, yeah, this guy is. Fair enough. So thank you for that. It was a good day off. I played way too much NHL 19. We had a very nice dinner. Very nice lunch as well. We did the thing, though, where, like, we left too late. So we had dinner at 8. We had lunch at, like, 5:30. And then at lunch, I hadn't eaten since, like, I don't know, maybe, like, 10 a.m. So I was pretty hungry. But I was like, I can't eat that much at lunch. Then I'll be full for dinner. But instead... I ate like 65% of a lunch, and then when dinner rolled around, like I sat down to dinner and I was already full. And that didn't stop me from, you know, having a nice time, but still. Hey, dude, could you like relax a little bit here? It's a little egregious the amount of output you got going on. My wife was surprised and flattered by the reservation being made. A couple of people asked me about that. Turned out great. No complaints whatsoever. Had a delicious heirloom tomato salad and a free-range bison steak, because that's the city we live in. We don't live in a city called Bison. I just mean, like, you know, I think sometimes, like, restaurants here, especially, like, you get to, like, upscale hipster ones, they're like, well, why would I use beef when I could use bison instead? Tempted by the steak of a bison. What is, by the way, an heirloom tomato? It sounds like something from Darkest Dungeon. Is it a tomato? Because I know, like, isn't the hothouse tomato, that's like the common tomato, or... Hold on, you know what? Is it a different genome? I guess is what I'm getting, a different species. Heirloom tomato. It's an open-pollinated heirloom cultivar of tomato. Heirloom tomatoes can be classified into 4 categories. Okay, I didn't, like... ask for your life story. Heirloom tomatoes are sweeter and lack a genetic mutation that gives them a uniform red color at the cost of the fruit's taste. Thank you! Dude, Look at this. Varieties bearing this mutation, which have been favored by the industry since the 1940s, feature fruits with lower levels of carotenoids and a decreased ability to make sugar within the fruit. I gotta tell you, the previous generations screwed us a little bit in some regards. If you did a poll in 2018 and you're like, what tastes better? You know, the regular average store-bought tomato or an heirloom tomato, if you put people like up against, if you gave them a blind taste test, they're gonna say heirlooms. But I don't know, back in the 1940s, they were like, well, people buy tomatoes based on how red they are, so our hands are tied. We gotta go with the inferior tomato. You really screwed us on that one. I wonder that sometimes, because, like, apparently in the wild, carrots, they come in all sorts of shapes and colors. Like, you've seen them before, I'm sure, but, like, you know, white carrots, purple carrots, etc., etc. Please don't mention the phrase purple carrot. I understand. Can be taken out of context a little bit, but
speed down.
You get what I'm saying. Like, I'm eating the orange carrots, and I used to think carrots were kind of like, you know, my favorite vegetable. When I typically had like a side of vegetables, my parents would give me like carrots and cucumber. Now that I'm older, I mean, some other vegetables have taken the mantle. I still like a carrot from time to time, raw, roasted, etc., etc. But I do kind of think of it as like it's sweet bark. And if you're gonna say carrots aren't sweet, we got a difference in palate, okay? It's not as sweet as candy, like that Mandy Moore song, but I mean, like, it's a little sweet. I actually think it's fairly sweet. But, you know, maybe those white carrots have got their own interesting culinary use. Maybe those purple carrots go great in an heirloom tomato salad, for example. But back in the day, you know, they're like, oh, well, we're only going to grow the type of tomato that's, we're only going to grow the type of carrot that everybody wants to eat in North America, and they all want the orange carrots that they saw on Leave It to Beaver. You screwed us, Beaver Cleaver. You screwed us. I could have been popping purple carrots into my mouth. I know what I said. Easy fight. Good deal with the devil, please. Ooh, don't go that way. Well, it's literally like, it's a positive to take it, but it does kind of suck.
The world
is a vampire, booty booty. Every time I do The World is a Vampire, the guitar, or I guess it's the bass that kicks in, it's always Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. And I'm not afraid to make enemies, okay? I'm not afraid to be the heel. I think that song is really, really... Let's start with the one that everyone can agree on. I think it's really, really overplayed. But I also genuinely think it's bad. But part of the badness is because I've heard it too much. I know I have very radically wrong opinions on some classic rock. But Living on a... I mean, I actually just... Oh, maybe I shouldn't have taken it, but maybe it's worth it. I don't know. Yeah, we could have re-rolled it, so that was probably a terrible choice. But I actually just kind of hate almost every Bon Jovi song. And I've heard them all 1,000 times. I know. What about Wanted Dead or Alive? That's not the one you should have brought up if you wanted to bring me over to your side, you know? I don't respect that song. He's not a cowboy. He's from New Jersey. It's like, at least Bruce Springsteen, okay? He's had his ups and downs for sure. But Bruce Springsteen doesn't write songs where he's like a wizard or something like that. Not that that would be wrong, because they do that in a lot of prog, and yet still, a lot of people like it, and I like some of it. I mean, it's not all roundabout, but come on. Still, decent fight. What was I gonna say? But at least, like, Bruce Springsteen songs are like, you know, my life is like the New Jersey Turnpike. It's sharp and it's full of cars. It's like he's singing about what he knows, at least. Bon Jovi's inventing a world. Seen a million faces, and I rocked them all. Like, I can't think of too many songs, especially from that era, that were about the band singing it, rocking so hard. that they're, like, morose. Like, anytime a band is, like, you know, it's building itself up, that's where I start to be skeptical, I guess. It's like in Kickstart My Heart when Vince Neil goes, when I get high on speed. And I'm like, dude, you're not setting a good example for all the little, you know, crew heads out there. Plus, I mean, that seems like it's just a very literal lyric. Like, there's not too much artistry to that one. We're going to win, probably, but I do hate this. Like, this run is kind of... It's petered out, let's put it that way. I am going to take Bob's Brain because I want the damage. I do think we could win on 1 life. I would prefer to not have to. What's our luck? Our luck stat is 0. So we are very unlikely to get many new items. I will take Moldy Bread. I mean, we've already ruined Whore of Babylon. We might as well maximize our HP. I can't hit you. Bob's Brain will not hit you. I'm sorry to inform you. You cannot be hit. You must be a ghost. Or perhaps a vampire, like the world. I'm sorry if you're out there and you're a Bon Jovi lover. I think the music, you know, is decent party music, I guess. If you're my mom's age. Which, you know, if you are, thank you for watching the video. First off, I respect you. Secondly, you're a very valuable demographic. You guys purchase a lot of stuff, so, you know, every viewer's the same to me, but to advertisers, you're a lot more valuable. But I don't know. Never got me. Out of all the classic bands, you know? Why would I listen to television when I could listen to Bon Jovi? Johnny used to work at the docks. I also hated, and this is just fundamentally, like, this is my own fault, but, like, it's a arena rock anthem. So every Canucks game, they play Don't Stop Believin', and they play Living on a Prayer. And they always, I get that it's for the fans, you know, to have a little bit of, like, a pantomime sort of experience, but they go, you know, oh, we're halfway there. And then they lower the volume so that they can hear the audience go, whoa, living on a prayer, and then they crank it up again. And I know a lot of people out there are probably going, that's cool. Yeah, but, like, first off, it isn't, and secondly, even if it were, I promise you, it gets old by the, you know, 10th NHL game you've been to, and you're like, oh, this is when they play Living on a Prayer, huh? I went to one Canucks game where they played Don't Stop Believing when the Canucks were up by 1 goal. And I went, this is like, you don't even understand why you're playing the song. You should play it when they're down so that the fans, you know, they're like, you know what, you're right, don't stop believing. You don't play it when the team is up, you know, it could give them false hope. Do stop believing. You can't score on Nielsen. He's the backup goalie for the Canucks, but I had to go with something. Jacob Markstrom. I know I can't sing. That's the other reason I hate it. Okie dokie. Really would like to knock this run out as soon as possible. You know, we got problems. We can solve them. But it's not a whole heck of a lot of HP to be rolling with right now. We're hoping for, like, even more so than a Spirit Heart, a good card. Yeah, that's a great card. And we don't even use it now. Save it and use it instead. Hopefully... I mean, hopefully you don't die, but hopefully if you do die, you'll have the Hierophant card that you can use to buff you for the boss fight, where you will also then have Whore of Babylon active. So there's a temptation here. And the temptation is very dumb. But it's to stick with this amount of HP. But you know what I'm thinking is actually, like, having 1 HP is really, really nice. Because then if we get hit, we get Whore of Babylon. We also get permanent Polaroid invincibility. But we go in with an extra hit. So I think if we can go into the boss fight with 1.5 HP, we're probably set. Now, we've mismanaged this run at a couple of different intervals, but I think we're going to be fine. So go as long as possible without getting hit. When you get hit, pop the Hierophant. Grab it, and then you'll get Whore of Babylon plus permanent Polaroid invincibility. It's a very groovy combination, baby. New Delirium, please. Okay, that's fair. Decent amount of damage done there. Oh, yeah, we did get a new Delirium. Unfortunately, it's Bob's brain. Hey, I just realized we have the Cancer item, which means we're only taking a half heart of damage. So I really got it probably a little overly aggressive there, but math checks out. Says that we're probably going to win this, and that should do it right there. Not a strong run, but we did unlock something new. Sacrificial Knife. That's a great item. I mean, that's not what the item's called, but you know, it's not like you guys made the game or whatever. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps us a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!